Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my presentation regarding the rank/pro play Viper contrast. Let's begin. So the VCT kickoff of each region just concluded, and as a stat you can see here, Viper has been picked a lot. In every region, Viper has more than 50% pick rate in pro play. In America, with the highest in America, 68%, 53% in the NBA, 56% in Pacific, and 52% in China. And amongst all controller, Viper is the most picked agent as well. But however, in SoloQ, Viper has seen as a little bit bad. Her win rate is slightly lower than 50%, but a lot of tier list maker, content creator, has decided to give her C tier, D tier, even the lowest tier up on the screen over here. So what with all these contrasts? First, you need to understand how Viper works. So Viper, her passive, she's one of the few character in Valorant that has a passive. Her passive is Fuel and Toxin. Her resource, Fuel, is the way that her character can be able to do anything. She's one of the, if not the only, resource-based agent in the entire game, because her smoke duration, which includes her smoke ability and her wall smokes, it ties with the amount of fuel you have. And if your fuel is less than 30%, you cannot activate this ability again. Keep that in mind. If it runs out, it took 30 seconds to replenish from 0 to 100. And if you go below 30%, you cannot reactivate the ability again unless it go above 30%. Okay. Furthermore, if you activate 2 smokes at the same time, then it consumes a lot more. It's the smokes last 12 seconds if you open each individually. But if you open both at the same time, then it's only got 8.5 seconds. She has her orb smokes and her wall smokes. Her orb smoke is basically a smoke of command she can place on anywhere, and then she can activate at will as long as she has the fuel. Wall smokes, the same thing. She casts a wall that goes through objects, that goes to terrains, and she can open it at will as well. She can activate it at will. She can be anywhere to activate it as long as she has the fuel. She has Snakebite, which is a molly. Basically, you can't walk through this, okay? If you stand there, you die. And lastly is a Viper's Pit, her ultimate, which is one of the most oppressive ultimate in the entire game. I would say it's very strong if used correctly. Basically, it's completely area denier. Viper casts a huge smoke that covers the entire area, and if you comes in, you slowly get decayed. Speaking of decayed, that is another one of Viper's signature ability. If the enemy pass through the smokes, they get 10 health. They take damage of 10. Right, and it scales as the longer they stand in the smoke or the longer they push through, especially the Viper's Pit. They minus 10 HP per second. So this is how Viper's Kit is individually. But in pro play, before we move on to why these contrasts, like why pro play so good and why rank so bad, we need to look at the notable Viper players to see who exactly is the one who's playing Viper. There's 3 that I want to showcase right now. First is the undisputed best Viper player in the entire world, which is Nats from Team Liquid, the IGL. Then it's Lee from G2 Esports and Chronicle from Vitality. I said that both of them are pretty strong at playing Viper as well. Nats is an IGL and a Sentinel player. Leaf is also a Sentinel player because he also plays Flex. And Chronicle is a Flex player from Vitality. He's most famous last year playing for Fnatic, where he plays a lot of Viper in the Flex position. With Vitality, he plays more Chamber this year with the introduction of Sayonara into the roster. If they want to play double Sentinel, Chronicle will play other Sentinel, and it will be Sayonara will play Viper. But when they want to run single Viper, single Sentinel composition, it's going to be Chronicle who runs it. So it's mostly Sentinel players who pick them up and not the controller player. Alright, just keep that in mind. It's not the controller player who play Viper, it's the Sentinel players. and also the flex player that onto the flex slot. Like, okay, we need someone to round out the team. Just pick Viper. Mostly that's how it is. So you can see that Viper is playing more in the sentinel role rather than the controller role. Want to keep that in mind. Now we move on to the contrast in the play style in rank and pro play. In rank, it's like 1v1. It doesn't matter if you're good in abusing ability. It doesn't matter if you scout or recon or hits anyone. As long as you hit your shot, you're good. Basically, gunfight is key. You just rush everything. Everything is so fast. Just goes in, sight execute. 1, 2, 3, hits it. If you either win right then and there or you die. That's how rank work. But in pro play, first off, this pace is absolutely slow. Some matches you may fall asleep in the middle of it, and I won't blame you because they play so cautious. They play so slow. There'll be some teams that play fast like PRX, but most of the time pro play are more about information. They're more using utility just to get control over some small area like A long in split or in B long in Pearl as well. Like those tight space, not even on site, just to get on the hallways or something. They already use utility just to clear it, just to make sure no one's there, just to make sure they get those space. So map pressure, map control, more important in pro play. And that's exactly why Viper is kind of bad here in rank, because Riot nerfed her to the ground. The history of Viper is that, history of Viper is that she's very bad on release, and then Riot buff her, and now she's giga broken, and every pro player pick her. They run her as a solo controller in some map as well. Like some maps they favor Viper, like Icebox, pre-rework Breeze, or Fracture on release. Breeze now is like not Viper favor anymore as a solo controller, and in Fracture, pro players decided to go with Brimstone more as a main controller and not Viper. But still, Riot nerfed her to the ground as well. When she become giga broken, everyone started to play her in rank and in pro play. Now she only have 1 molly. She used to have 2. She can't pick up for smoke when the round starts. Before she can toss the orb, use the smoke, pick it up, toss it somewhere else, and activate it again. She can't do that anymore. If you commit to a spot, you're committed. If the round already start, where if you decide to toss it off after a round start, or you set it up and then the round start, that's where it's gonna be for the rest of the round. Like that's it, done. And the refill duration, it used to be about 20-25 seconds. Now it's 30 seconds. So it's like, okay, when Viper used her utility, she got like 12 seconds, and if she used both smokes at the same time, 8.5 seconds, which is very short among all controllers, and then she can't do anything. She has to enter the fight. And then basically her utility before, there's a patch where if you walk through any of her ability, you get instantly 50% health damage. Like decay, you got instantly like decay damage. Which means like if you leave it, the health come back, right? With decay, you take damage, but if you leave it, your health comes back. So what's it mean? Now, it used to be 50, right? So people are afraid of pushing, but now it's only 10 and it comes back almost immediately. So it's like, okay, no one respects the Viper smoke anymore. They're just gonna push through it. And also the playstyle of the rank, as I said, is more about side execute and stuff. So the agents that are more better at holding side or better at taking gunfights, like Cypher and Killjoy, like you defend the side with utility, Cypher with trips, with cameras, Killjoy with turrets, with trips and stuff, or Sage and Chamber, who's really good at holding side and fighting off enemies. Like Sage can walls, and then if she wins her fight, she can retreat and heal herself back up. Chamber takes some fights, trips to slow him down, and if you get a kill, you TP away and reset with your team. Even if you don't get any kills, you just like stall them and regroup back to your team. You can just TP away. Viper can't do that. If she can't hold the enemy with the utility that she has, and she basically died. So this is why like Viper is not that viable in rank or in solo queue more specifically. However, in pro play, Viper is a menace. Why? Because of her walls. When I say like in rank, people don't really respect that wall, but in pro play, they absolutely do. This is the two best wall example for Viper. So first is the A wall on bind. This wall is basically a lurk wall. So Viper can just use this wall to lurk up lamps, and she can activate it anytime. So she can be in she can be in bat, she can be in B long, or she can be in hookah. Doesn't matter. She can just like pulls the walls up, and for the off chance that she's there, the opponent has to respect that wall and to keep someone there to prevent Viper from flanking. And also this walls up means people gotta be committed. Like, okay, they need to make sure no one is there, no one is behind that wall. Just need to make sure, so they gotta respect it. And also another wall is the A split wall. Because of this cross choke, it forced someone from the defense to make sure no one cross this. The wall is up so that make sure no one's cross up to heaven, cross up to ramps and flank all the way to mid or something like that. It forced the enemy to commit people. And since pro play are more slow, those information are vital. The more utility you get the defender to waste, the more time you get for the defender to waste, more resource you get the defender to waste, it's better. It's better for them to, for the attackers, better for the team overall. They can play off this information like, okay, now the other side is weak, or now the opponent doesn't have this util, that util, doesn't have the scan or something like that. That makes this wall, you gotta respect that wall in pro play. Another one is her orb actually, and her Viper's Pit. And one of them makes her more of a sentinel role rather than the pure controller role that she is because the wall is really good at tight space. This is another good example on split where Viper's kind of broken. You can see that Viper orb, this orb smokes, it force defenders to respect it. It stop pushes. It makes sure the defender gets the control onto heaven and on the top mid. So this is a really good utility, and she can activate it at will. It's not like Omen where you have to like be sure to activate it, be sure to like you commit huge resources just for that. But as a Sentinel, you're not Omen. You're not gonna be the one who primarily smoke. This buys you a lot of time, and not like Cypher is like one-time smoke thingy as well. Like Viper can use it as long as they have resources. Another one of this is the Viper's Pit onto like some tight space, like this example where Viper is holding on to A long, forcing the opponent who come through to come through short and down onto silver. Like it forced opponent off long, it's forced opponent to go somewhere else. So it's really good at controlling the tight space and forcing opponent to cut off space for the opponent. This is why Viper is so broken. So in conclusion, Viper matched the slower pace in pro play. Her util is not that strong in assisting fight in rank. In solo queue where the pace is much faster, she's S tier in pro play and C tier at best in rank. Now here is where I would suggest the change that I want for Viper, but at this point I think the best shot is to just rework her, like completely change stuff up or move her to the sentinel role. It will be radical changes, but either fully commit her as a sentinel or just make her similar to the niche that Harbor is doing right now as a secondary controller. Makes her wall similar to the Harbor wall where you can like recast it, but it's like stay temporarily. That makes her less oppressive in pro play because it forces her to actually be there and not like be anywhere and still activate that wall. It's like, Viper doesn't have to be in that wall. It could be like someone else. It could be your duelist. It could be your controller other controller trying to pry off more information. So I think the best shot right now for Riot is to just rework her, trying to play more. I would say that the character, trying to find ways, let's say like commits to her power fantasy of being the area denial type agent, Like having tools to just stall enemy and slow enemy down, because she's not doing that in rank right now. And in pro play, she's more of like a lurk guy, or like very small area denial, like shut down totally. It forced utility, it forced the opponents to commit. So yeah, that's my presentation. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.